Hey, how's it going? It's Craig. I'm out in the garage, and today we've got a bit of a special build to get on with. Let's do it. Okay, so I've been putting this project off for a long time because I thought it was going to be super expensive to build. But I've got a lot of the parts kicking around the garage, which I didn't realise up until I started looking into it a little bit more. So the project I'm going to be working on today is a virtual pinball budget system. So this isn't your all singing, all dancing virtual pinball system. Some of those are absolutely amazing. Take a look around YouTube. There's tons and tons of videos for them. They're just insane. The amount of money that people put into them is bonkers. And yeah, the output on them is like virtual. You can even put a Microsoft Kinect camera in there from the old Xbox 360. So as you move side to side, the camera moves with you, and the play field, you can look around and look behind things. Absolutely insane. But this is a real budget setup, and it's not even a high spec PC that I want to use in there. So I'll go through the parts list in a bit because I've got to do some digging around and find some things. But yeah, it should be a project that hopefully by the end of the day should be up and running. But let's take a look. Okay, so first thing we need to do is look at our parts list. Our parts list consists of two screens, one for the playfield, one for the back glass and the DMD. I need some wood to build the shell, the case, the build, I don't even know what you want to call it, out of. I'm going to try some glass on top of the screen just to give it a nice look. But I've got some glass in the garden, which is from old cupboards and things like that. But I'm going to have to cut it to size, and I haven't cut glass in years. So, and I don't think I got glass cutter anyway. So I'm going to have to give it a go with some tools that I've got around here, see how it works. But that could end up in disaster. Hopefully no extra pressure on the NHS because I know they're busy at the moment. So I'm going to need 6 buttons: left flipper, right flipper, coin, player 1 start, nudge, and plunger. So that's my 6 buttons I'm going to need for the system. So I'm going to set those up, get them running. I've got here as well a USB 2 interface for buttons and things like that, which I bought for the Raspberry Pi build that I didn't end up using on one of my arcade machines before. So I'm going to use that as the interface. I'm going to be using a Mac Mini, 2012 Mac Mini for the build. And I put Windows 10 on that with 2 pieces of software which are mainly running it, which is a front-end system called Pinup Popper, which is a really nice looking system, and the emulator is called Visual Pinball 10 or Visual Pinball X, if you want to call it that way. I've downloaded a load of those, set those up on the system behind me because they take absolutely ages to set up, and I've still not even got the settings right, so I can still play around with them afterwards. What else I'm going to need? I'm going to need a mini USB wireless keyboard of some sorts. I've got one of them here somewhere. And what else? Maybe some paint or some stickers. I've done some stickers for the Mega Drive cards the other week, so I've got some sticker paper around, so I might be able to print off some stickers depending on the size of this thing at the end of it, if I've got enough ink and I've got enough sticker paper to use it. If not, I could spray paint it or do something else. I've got a couple of tins of spray knocking around. Worst case scenario, I leave it as it is for now, and then I finish it off and detail it at another point. So yeah, let's get on with it. I don't know how this is going to turn out. It might be an absolute nightmare and disaster, or I could end up at the end of the day with something that actual playable and working system. Let's take a look. Okay, for my 2 screens, I'm going to use this one as my playfield. So it's an LG TV. As you can see, it's pretty beaten up and scratched and things. It's not in the best of conditions, but hopefully the screen will clean up quite nicely, and mainly as the case is scratched and things. This has been out my garage for a long time, so it's dusty and horrible. I've dropped it about 3 or 4 times as well, so the case is a little bit cracked, but all of that's coming off, so that's not a problem. The other screen I'm going to be using is this Samsung 4x3 LCD TV monitor. So this one's a TV monitor. I think I got this off my mate Peter, who does alarms and CCTV and things. I think it's got the old coax type input on the back of it as well for CCTV systems. So this one's been up in the loft for ages, as you can see by the amount of dust and crap on there. Yeah, so that one's going to be my back glass. So if you imagine that one laying down flat on the as the vertical, and that one as the back panel. Yeah, it should be interesting. Hopefully both of them will work. They're not going to be super high res systems. This one's going to be running off VGA, and that one's going to be running off HDMI. My Mac Mini is set up in the corner back there, just as a test setup at the moment. Running Windows 10, so it's not the best of builds, but it'll do for this demo just to see if we can get something up and running. Let's carry on looking for parts. I know my desk is an absolute tip at the moment. Down here, that controller there is a USB wireless keyboard and mouse, so we're going to be using that as well. And we're going to salvage some buttons from these two arcade machines. So these are my two Jammer arcade machines. They're my pride and joy, but they're tucked away behind the scooter at the moment, so I can't even get to them properly. But I want to upgrade all the buttons on these anyway, so if I take these buttons out, I can buy some nice Sanwa or decent quality buttons that can replace them in the later parts, and joysticks and things, so I can swap all that out at a later date anyway. Okay, so I've got to squeeze through all these gaps and things at the moment to try and get down to get some buttons out of here. I'm going to try and rescue 6 buttons out of this setup, see what we can do, and then start the build. Okay, so we've got our monitors and our Mac Mini setup back there. Time to get some of the parts from the arcade machines and around the house. Let's take a look. I'm pinching these cupboard doors, okay? Okay guys, as you can see, we're all up and running. A bit of a mammoth build for a single day cabinet build. As I said, I did the system the day before or a day or two before to get all the back glass animations and everything up on there as well. Yeah, it's working really nice. So if you flick through on here, you can go through all the different games. As you can see, the back glass is working now. I had a bit of an issue with this back monitor. There was a line missing on the vertical, but I seem to have got it back now. So hopefully that stays like that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to replace that monitor at some point. Yeah, but I've had a couple of games on it. It's working great. Plays really nice. For everything that you can see here, I had lying around the house in one way or another. So the Mac Mini was my kids. I repurposed that, put Windows 10 on it. The wood is from my kitchen cupboard, spare kitchen doors. Some of the other bits were just pieces of wood I had lying around. Oh, we don't want that on screen. We'll turn that off. The screens, again, I got loads of screens knocking around. So this one is a TV, back one's a monitor. Those two are just knocking around. The one from the attic that we've seen earlier, and this one's just been out in the garage for ages, so they weren't being used. USB encoder was from my Raspberry Pi when I was playing around with that. Arcade buttons from my arcade machines and spare pieces that I had over there. And that's pretty much it. Everything else is just time to put it all together. The paint was the worst thing, and it's not a pretty machine. It's not the best looking thing, but it does the job. The hammerite effect on it is quite cool. It's actually quite ripply. I want to do some stickers and put some stickers on you just to make it look a little bit neater. I've already realised that holding your hands on here, I'm starting to rub the paint on these sides, so I'm going to have to put something on them at some point. Other than that, all good. Great bit of fun. I think this is going to be a bit of a permanent piece up in the garage, certainly until I can upgrade it to something a little bit better, because this is not obviously the full experience of a visual pinball. The ones you see online are absolutely amazing. They got motors in there, so you can really feel every nudge, and every time the ball hits something, you could really feel everything. One day I'll upgrade to one of those, but that's going to be a little bit of a time and a lot of money invested into one of those things. And the space. As you can see, I've relegated 2 of my CRT TVs. They've moved to the other side of the garage behind the camera. I just didn't have the room for this anywhere else, so it's had to go over here. It gives me a little bit more of a desk space, even though it's an absolute mess at the moment, but it gives me a bit more room. So, not too bad. One other thing, you'll see that there's a little control board here. That's for this monitor. I want to snip that, extend those cables, and run that somewhere else as well. But lots of little niggly things like that to play around with, but I'm not in any rush. So, if you've got any questions about visual pinball, I'm probably not the person to ask, but drop them down in the comments below and I'll answer what I can. I'll put some links in the description as well, because there's loads of really good, useful websites for building one of these. I found it fairly straightforward, and just to build a Windows 10 system, plug in all the systems. If you follow the wiki guide to install Pinup Popper, then you can't go wrong, really. There's a couple of websites out there with the build that I got with 300 tables on it. Once you've done that, it's still not a straightforward piece. You've got a load of configuring to do after that. So it does take a little bit of time to get it all up and running, but all good. Last thing to do is play some games, so catch you later.
When it rains.
Please wait. I am now loading up the game. Have fun.
Choose your skill shot.
Climber's trouble. You deal with it.